Gun sales are skyrocketing in Utah, and it's been that way since the beginning of the pandemic. Gun enthusiasts telling ABC4 News it's because of the election, the pandemic, and social unrest. ABC4's Jordan Burrows live at TNT Guns and Range in Murray. Jordan, how are they dealing with these historic sales?
Glenn, in general, throughout the state of Utah, double the amount of background checks were completed in 2020 than in 2019. Those background checks also more than any other year in the previous decade. Here at TNT Guns and Range in Murray, at this wall behind me, it's full of guns, but they cannot keep up with the demand right now for guns. As soon as they get them, they're gone within just a couple of days. Gun enthusiasts and law enforcement tell me with more guns in the hands of Utahns means there needs to be more responsibility.
Fully loaded or not, guns come with tremendous responsibility.
The people who can legally possess guns aren't the ones that we're worried about.
With more guns bought in Utah and more background checks completed in 2020 than any other year in the decade, gun enthusiast Clark Opesian says this stat makes sense.
So they said, you know what, I'm going to go buy a gun. And then they started buying guns. They started getting concealed carry permits. They started getting training. So we saw that trend.
Opesian believes a mix of the presidential election, the COVID-19 pandemic, and social unrest has caused thousands to rethink their own safety.
I think it's probably because people understand, or at least have that sense of vulnerability, one, for their own personal safety, two, because they think if they have to fend for themselves and be responsible for their own family and that they want a firearm other than a hunting type firearm.
So what about law enforcement? More guns could be on the streets and in the community.
It certainly seems like it could be due to a political climate or whatever, but the biggest thing that causes me concern about that is you've got that many more people out there. And I have to ask the question, are they going to handle that responsibly? That's what it always comes back to.
Sergeant Spencer Cannon's biggest issue is with kids. Firearms are the #1 cause of death among children and teens in the state. This, according to the Gun Violence Prevention Center.
I don't care how well behaved your kids are. I don't care how well educated they are because of what you have taught them. They are a curiosity factor for children.
180,000 background checks completed in Utah in 2020. That's almost double the amount from 2019.
People are paying more for these guns, double, if not even more, for these guns because the supply cannot keep up with the demand of that, including ammunition.
TNT Guns and Range says it cannot keep up with demand, and either can the manufacturers. So employees tell ABC4 they think these historic gun sales will continue throughout the year.
As we reported in February, Governor Spencer Cox signed off on a bill that would allow residents 21 and over to carry a concealed weapon without a permit in public. That will go into effect in May. Reporting live in Murray, I'm Jordan Burrows, ABC4 News.